All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Idowu Akinde. Everyone calls me ID. Welcome to season 4, episode 1, Who is a Co-founder? Like I said in the intro video to this particular season, for this particular group of episodes, co-founder conflict is the second most frequent reason why small businesses do not survive, all around the world. And sometimes you wonder, why is that? Okay. I think I'd place a bet. I'd wager that just hold your thoughts now and just give me the benefit of the doubt, and let's walk through this season together. And by the end of this season, most likely I would have succeeded in helping you think differently about how you select people to go on the founding journey with you, how you select people to start companies with you. There is a way to think about co-founder search, selection, and onboarding. But, like I say with other topics around the startup building journey, many founders have picked up wrong unconscious decisions. They've picked up wrong conclusions. They formed wrong conclusions unconsciously. For instance, the most popular one of those conclusions is Bill Gates dropped out of school, yet he built a successful company. Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of school, yet he built a successful company. XYZ, ABC, DEF, all dropped out of school, and they've all built these massively successful companies. If one is not careful, one will make that wrong conclusion that the way to build a successful company is to wing it through life, right? Just don't acknowledge and don't follow any structured methodology, but just do whatever you like at any time, right? So, something similar to that concept. Many of the decisions that we make when selecting people to go on this startup building journey with us are suboptimal decisions, okay? And we'll look at those decisions shortly. Lastly, let me say that if you look at it statistically, okay, the average successful startup reaches that success level, right? Success, right? The point where it has gathered enough momentum that it has become an engine of growth. It has built an internal engine of growth that is self-propagating. For a startup to get to that level, probably very few to none of startups ever get to that level in less than 6 years. So the average time that you are going to be married to someone on this startup building journey before you get returns, at least significant, worthwhile returns on investment, is actually 6 to 12 years. Sometimes it could stretch to 15. Let me just get out of your face now and let's look at some of the topics. Episode 1 is about who is a co-founder. And I think that you find this particularly interesting because I'll start it with a story, and let's do that. Okay, so without much further ado, I will share my screen so that we can tackle the topic at hand. Let's do that. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you Mr. Chicken and Mr. Pig. Okay, I'm sure some of you have heard this story, and I always like to use it to break the ice and introduce a very, very important concept to founders. The story goes like this. So Mr. Chicken and Mr. Pig. Chicken and Pig are friends, okay? But they've been estranged for a while. They haven't seen each other in a while. It's been at least 5 years since they saw each other last. And so one day, Chicken calls up Mr. Pig on the phone and says, hey, Pig, how you doing? Pig says, oh, I'm fine, chicken. What's up? Where have you been? Chicken says, oh, I'm fine, thank you. I've been thinking about calling you for a while now because I have this fantastic business idea that I'd like to share with you. Pig says, oh, you know me, I'm always up for turning a profit. Tell me about it. What do you have in mind? What are you thinking of? Chicken says, oh, I'd like us to start a restaurant, just you and I, two co-founders, two business partners. Let's start a new business. Let's start a restaurant, and let's run this together. I couldn't think of anyone to run this with better than you. Pig says, wow, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. You have my attention. Chicken says, actually, this is going to be a unique restaurant in the sense that we're going to build a restaurant. We're going to set up a restaurant that only serves one menu item, and it's just in the mornings. Okay. We're going to serve a breakfast item, and we're going to make so much money from that breakfast item that, we will make so much more money than other people that are serving all sorts of items. Okay. Pig says, chicken, you're beating about the bush, go straight to the point. Tell me what this idea is about. I can't wait to hear it. Tell me about it. I can't wait to start this business with you. Chicken then says, okay, this is the idea. Please don't tell anybody, it's a really special idea. I'd like us to start a restaurant that serves breakfast for people, okay, on their way to work, drive through, pick up your breakfast and go. And Pig says, okay, so what's going to be on the menu? And Chicken then says, we're going to serve the best plate of ham and eggs in town. At that moment, Pig does the face that you see on the screen and tells Chicken, dear Chicken, what do you take me for? You can't be serious. Get off my phone now and don't you ever call me again. I don't ever want to hear from you again. Get off my phone now. All right. And, that's the end of the story. At this point in our interactive sessions, I usually like to ask the audience for their interpretations of what happened that made Pig suddenly cut the conversation short and react that way. And, I often hear a variety of a plethora of responses. But if you think about it, actually, you see that Pig quickly caught on to something and saw that, oh my God, this is a bad idea. Okay, let me explain. Pig immediately saw that. Let me backtrack a little. If you take a plate of ham and eggs, okay, a plate of ham and eggs, there's the ham on one side, however it's processed and however it's presented, and then there's the eggs, okay. Let's say 2 sunny side eggs, just for discussion purposes, okay. If you look at a plate of ham and eggs, we could say, just for discussion purpose, that the ham weighs 50 grams and the eggs also weigh 50 grams, okay? Just for discussion purposes. If that's the case, one could argue that based on contribution, these two partners in the business should split the business equally 50-50 by contribution. And before I tell this story, or rather, before I reveal the real lesson in the story, this is the position that a lot of founders find themselves in, the mental position. I used to be here a couple of years ago, okay? We find ourselves measuring, excuse me, 1 second, please. We find ourselves measuring relative contribution and rewarding contribution with equity. However, if you consider that the party that contributed the eggs in that plate, even though they are equal grammage, the party that contributed the eggs laid 1 or 2 eggs and moved on with their lives, okay? So the commitment level, meanwhile, the party that contributed the ham had to give up their life in order for the ham to be extracted, processed, and then presented as part of that meal or that menu item. It automatically becomes clear that even though the surface relative contribution, the surface measurement of relative contribution is equal, 50-50, 50 grams, 50 grams, right? Even though that's equal, that matches, the commitment level does not match. And so you see that equity, startup equity, business equity, co-founding equity, shareholding positions in companies is a reward for risk. Startup equity or equity in businesses is not a reward for contribution. So it's one thing to contribute your skills. It's another thing to contribute your commitment to getting the job done in order for this startup to move from prototype stage to MVP stage. It's another thing to contribute your commitment. So this particularly applies to what I call the lead founders or the founders per se, okay, the real founders of businesses, the people who are the original ideators. You always have to establish a system for thinking about and assessing and evaluating the degree of commitment that people are bringing to your business, okay, rather than the surface contribution that they are contributing. Somebody may be contributing money, but what is the commitment level? Somebody else may be contributing time or skills or some other type of resource that is necessary for building the startup. But the ultimate way to think about rewarding people with equity is to reward commitment with equity and not contribution with equity. So in summary, I hope that, this has been a good illustration, somewhat funny illustration to drive home the point that equity is not reward for contribution. Equity is reward for commitment, okay? All right, so commitment in terms of risk-taking. In this particular case, I'd like to throw a question out now. Please drop a comment for me on the chat box that says, which of these two entities, which of these two parties, is it the chicken that is so one of them is committed and the other one is involved. Please tell me which one is which. Is it the chicken that is committed and the pig involved, or is it the chicken that is involved and the pig committed? Please let me know your comments in the comment section. Having laid this foundation of chicken and egg, okay, sorry, chicken and ham, chicken and pig, ham and eggs. I think we now have a solid foundation for defining a co-founder, okay? And a co-founder is not a participant in a business. A co-founder is somebody who takes risk on behalf of a new business, okay? And, obviously, in reward for that risk taking, they get compensated in equity. Okay, so that's that. Co-founders create the business. In the early days, they are the last table upon which the buck stops. So there's no excuse. Things must be done. They must be done. You get things done. All right. On that note, I'd like to draw the curtains here. Thank you for tolerating my hallucinations. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.